I'm kind of upset that today it feels like everyone's walking around with the energy of a dead guy today, okay? They're not celebrating Shedeur in a proper way, in the proper, at least context that I feel like this should be celebrated.
Am I missing something?
No, I'm here to I want to do a 5-hour celebration, Daryl.
Well, I feel like it's been somewhat celebratory
I felt like
today.
the morning show, I think they did the Super Bowl, Super Browns, and then they got into an argument over success rate for an hour. And if you're arguing Shedeur Sanders and success rate, I feel like you're missing the plot here.
You know what the success rate is? They won the game!
They won. Not only did they win the game, Daryl, Shedeur Sanders became the first Browns rookie to win since 1995.
Eric Zeiger!
You blow out the Raiders, and Shedeur's throwing dots across the field. Shedeur is looking awesome, but the Browns are winning games again. We don't have many opportunities to celebrate these things. This needs to be a 5-hour celebration, Daryl. Can we make it a 5-hour celebration? Daryl, I want to go ahead and get a 5-hour boom! We need to get this thing going, Daryl. We need to keep the people going. 5 hours of Shedeur and the Browns. You got what you asked for. Is it just 1 week? Yes, it's just 1 week. Do we know what this is going to mean long term? Of course we don't know what this is going to mean long term. But this is such a celebration, Daryl.
I like how you shot that in my direction. I have all the confetti. You have none of the confetti.
This is going to be a pain in the butt for me to clean up, and I know that. I understand. It's going to be an absolute pain for me to clean up.
Well, I'm going to spend 5 hours cleaning up my work area and throwing the confetti in your direction so you can celebrate.
This is a celebration of the highest order. He was fantastic. Now, yes, was there meat left on the bone? Of course there was. But he did what they asked him to do, and he got the win. We have been starved for wins. Leave your success rate nonsense at the doorstep. Leave QBR at the doorstep. I don't care about that stuff. Did you have a quarterback that looked like they knew what they were doing? The answer is yes. Not only should he play in San Francisco, he should be the quarterback for the rest of the season. Stefanski coming out today saying he gets San Francisco, though, at a minimum, which is going to enrage me because I know how this is going to go down. Now he's got to sing for his supper every single time he has a game. Is that how this goes?
He could have waited till Wednesday to do this. I want to know, what have they done with Kevin Stefanski? He never wants to...
You were surprised by this. In the pre-show meeting, I think you thought that this was going to come a little bit later.
I wasn't shocked at the decision to stick with Shedeur this week.
We got paper everywhere. Just paper apps. Jax, did that look all right? Was that fine?
Yeah, I jumped a little bit, honestly. I wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it either. I see him pull this thing out of his bag, and I'm like, what's he about to do? And then he popped it, and I'm like... I jumped too. There's probably a video of me like jumping as well.
But I hope that's the best part.
I am. It probably is now. Let's. For the folks on the socials, I'm taking photos of the aftermath that I'm going to post.
Not as much on the ground as I thought would be. So that's nice for the cleanup aspect of this all. That's going to be nice.
It's very colorful in here all of the sudden.
Well, it is a celebration, Daryl.
It is, and it should be. Look, you got to go back to '95. He's the first rookie quarterback in the expansion era to win his starting debut. All the folks are well, Baker won his first game. He came in relief against the Jets. Tyrod Taylor started that game. Like, let's be factually accurate. Shedeur started the game. He finished the game, played very well. Look, I will say this, and I mentioned this on the postgame YouTube that I do with Andy Baskin after every game. Look, he did plenty to earn. This is not I don't want to just see Dillon Gabriel, which, by the way, that is, I will concede that is a big part of it. I would rather see Jonathan Peterlin play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
I don't want that. I don't want that job.
Dillon Gabriel, and nobody wants to see that. But he earned it. He earned it with the way he played yesterday. The thing that I was most impressed with is you didn't see him just running around. Like we saw him do that in the preseason a little bit.
We saw him stepping into place.
Yes, he was stepping up into the pocket. Was only sacked one time. He was moving to his left. He was moving to his right. He wasn't retreating from the line of scrimmage. To me, that was the most impressive aspect of that game for me. Oh, by the way, for the folks who are like, well, it's the Raiders. And listen, Dillon Gabriel lost to the freaking New York Jets.
Right.
The 66-yard touchdown pass to Dylan Sampson, by the way, standing ovation, Dylan Sampson.
Nice job by Dylan Sampson.
Did not know he had that extra gear in him.
And that's one thing I want to bring up, too, is like the idea that when it was Corley and Dillon Gabriel overshot him, everyone...
That's my point.
You can't look at these things like, oh, well, that's a basic bubble screen. You can't get credit for that. It's like, to hell, you can't get credit for that.
Dillon Gabriel threw that ball to the bench. much.
Yeah, it was almost amazing how those lined up and the similarities between the two plays,
right?
And how we just have this stark comparison 2 weeks after the fact, and one is completing the passes and one wasn't.
Yeah. So again, he earned this. This is not a by default situation. This is, and by the way, Dylan Gabriel was out of concussion protocol according to Kevin Stefanski. So that's another. I got
real worried. I think a lot of us did. The idea that it didn't matter what happened on Sunday, that Shedeur was going to end up not being able to keep that job. I'm happy that at least Stefanski had cooler heads prevail when it came to this.
Yeah, well,
he let the obvious speak for itself. I mean, he would have got slaughtered if he hadn't put Shedeur out there, but he let the obvious speak for itself. Shedeur does something for this offense that Dylan Gabriel just can't.
Here's the other part of this, too. I don't know, did Kevin Stefanski have a meeting last night or this morning with some people?
I don't know. I mean, I want your take on that, too. Like, what do you think he met with? He didn't do it at the podium because he wanted to go ahead and meet with everyone first, or is it because he was trying to protect the idea he didn't want to fire Dylan Gabriel through the podium? Because there's a lot of coaches. I saw that going around.
He fired him through Zoom today.
I was going to say, there's a lot of coaches that'll just do that anyway. Like, they don't care across the NFL when they find out, who finds out, none of that. That's like the new corporate
thing. You fire people on Zoom now.
Is that just because no one's going to the office? Is that why that is?
I think that's part of it.
Oh, you're right. That's the new corporate thing. Right. I'd be very depressed if I got fired through Zoom. But maybe it's because I go to work every day. If I didn't go to work every day, maybe that would just be my reality. It's not personal, though. I hate that. Absolutely hate that. But so you think he met with somebody? You think he met with Andrew Berry, who, by the way, his reaction was one of what you would expect if you were to have bet on Shedeur the way that he did? I thought his reaction, he looked like a proud papa.
Did he really bet on Shedeur, though? Like, come on now.
He looked like a proud papa right there.
Did he really bet on Shedeur? For the
longest time, I had made the case, or at least wondered out there, if it was Haslam that had made the pick, or if it was Andrew Berry that had made the pick. Last week, we had the Stephen A. Smith report that suggested that it was, in fact, Andrew Berry that had made the call on that. After watching his reaction to yesterday and how that all went down, I'm led to believe that Stephen A. was right in that assessment. Because, he seemed like the type of person that made a massive swing and bet on Shedeur, and it was paying off in a big way.
Yeah, listen, I think that if you paint Kevin Stefanski into a corner, he'd probably say he would say it's his decision, but the reality is, I'm pretty sure that was an organizational decision. Let's be honest about it. I think that was an organizational decision.
You think he'd still would have gone with Dylan Gabriel this next week?
No, I don't think he would have still gone with him.
You got to be a bird brain in order to go and think that. Not saying you're the bird brain. I'm saying, like, for Stefanski to think that, like, Dylan Gabriel offers something. Like, I don't understand what you'd be holding on to Shedeur for.
Me neither. Have you not watched Dylan Gabriel for 6 weeks like I have?
That's part of the problem. And I think this happens a lot with our Browns discussions. It's like, what would the Browns do versus what we would do? Like, you're not suggesting that they shouldn't do anything but put Shedeur Sanders out there, especially after what we saw on Sunday. But I do wonder with a lot of people out there if they're thinking what you're thinking right now, is that if it was up to Stefanski, it'd still be Dylan Gabriel, and today would have been, well, thanks for filling in, Shedeur, but this is Dylan's job now.
Right.
Which would have been a crime.
And the other thing, too, is Dylan has done nothing to earn that.
Right.
Shedeur earned the start against the 49ers with his play. And here's the other thing. The energy with the team, like after the 52-yard completion to Bond, did you see the reaction from Myles Garrett in the bench after that?
Oh, he was thrilled.
They were all like, oh, so that's what an explosive play looks like.
You had hope, Daryl. You had hope. The whole thing with this offense that we've had to watch, making our eyes bleed for the Dylan Gabriel experience.
You know what we have right now? We have Shahope.
Shahope. Well, call it whatever you want. Put whatever shot in front of it that you want to go ahead and put in front of it. But we finally have it, and that's a beautiful thing. And I listen, I don't know that it's going to be anything that is long-lasting. He's going to have the San Francisco game. I hope Shedeur realizes that with this San Francisco game, you're on the same clock that you were on last 100%. Week as well.
Yeah, it's a week-to-week audition.
It's a week-to-week audition. And I'd love to be able to say that you have it for the rest of the season and you get that job and nobody can take it from you. But the reality is that they are waiting for you to trip up. And they're waiting to go ahead and give the ball back to Dylan Gabriel. Yep. You have to keep doing what you did on Sunday, which makes it impossible to give them the ball to Dylan. You just have to keep doing that.
Yeah, play keep away. Make them take it from you. And he certainly didn't do that yesterday. He had one mistake in that game. He had one critical mistake in that game, and luckily they played the Raiders, and it didn't bite him in the backside.
Yeah, what Albert Breer described, throwing it into a team meeting.
Right. Right. Pretty good
It's not a bad description.
And look, 11 to 20, the numbers don't light you up.
No. That's why I said before this week.
Net passing yardage is the most they've had since week 2.
Daryl, I said before this week, I had to put my scouting hat on, okay? The hat is fake, the scouting is real, okay? I'm not a box score jockey with this one. None of that nonsense. How did it look? Did the offense look like it was moving down the field? Check mark. Did he make some big plays? Check mark. Did Isaiah Bond start to look like maybe there's something there? How about this offensive line, by the way? We left this offensive line for dead, and rightfully so. And now all of a sudden the offensive line can start to play a little bit. The run game has some life to it. That's the best play I've seen Sampson make in his entire NFL career. Yeah. Harold Fannin making all sorts of plays, especially the one to get the first down.
Yes.
I don't think it's an accident that people around Shedeur Sanders get better around Shedeur Sanders.
They want to fight for him.
I just refuse. Yeah, I just refuse to think that's an accident. And I'm not going to take it as far as being like, that's why Travis Hunter won a Heisman. No, Travis Hunter's got a lot of skill and a lot to him, right? He never looked better than when he was with Shedeur. Deion Sanders never looked better as a coach than when he was with Shedeur. Like, I'm convinced that Shedeur makes people better around him. Does it mean he's going to be the second coming? Well, no. We got a lot of football left, and that's a lot to be determined.
Hey,
there's a lot of people that make people better. That then there's a ceiling to this whole thing. But like right now, the early returns, you have to feel good about that offense looking night and day. But more importantly, the people around Shedeur playing their very best games we've seen all season long. That's not an accident.
I'm ready to call the dude in Lakewood and get the bust ready to go. Get the sculptor here. Let's get it rolling.
I think you want me to do that.
Get the seamstress ready. Fit him for the yellow jacket. Here we go.
We're building the Shadome.
We're building the Shadome in Brook Park. The
house that Shedeur built.
The house that Shedeur.
No. I have to make sure I temper that down because I've done sports radio long enough to know there's highs and lows to all of this. Last week was a low.
You brought a confetti cannon
with you today. This week feels like a high. Well, with the idea, I just didn't love people's energies. I didn't love people's energy. That was a great game. It was an awesome performance. They blew the Raiders out of the water, and people are walking around like the Walking Dead. Instead of doing this, like legendary, wrist up, people are doing the Grandpa Simpson, like they're shaking like old man yelling at the cloud motion instead. It's like, get this together, people. We can all be on one page here. This could be easy. Instead, we had Browns fans fighting with each other, people debating success rate as if that's a thing anyone's ever talked about previously. Like, that was a great, fun day. Enjoy it for what it was. There was a spot, I told you guys last week, that after the Ravens game at the half, I was buried into my couch because it just was going so poorly, and it was just going so in such a backwards way that when I ever envisioned the first time we'd see Shedeur in a Browns uniform going, and I had my head in my couch, my kid is wondering what the hell is going on, and then yesterday I'm up celebrating so much. The Isaiah Bond throw, I legitimately leapt off of my couch and started screaming and doing like one of these type things, like you're just furiously clapping so hard.
I was legit disappointed Bond didn't get in the end zone. He was down at the 2.
I know, it probably should have been a touchdown, but that's neither here nor there. Isaiah Bond made a big-time play, and Shedeur made the big-time play as well.
First part, Isaiah Bond caught the football.
It was all just, well, that would have been so
baby
so
steps.
Isaiah, I would have cut him on the spot if he had dropped that ball, okay? If that thing put right in his bread basket, if he would have dropped that, I would have been like, you're walking home, Isaiah Bond. I hope you like the slot machines because you're not leaving Vegas. You're stuck here now. So he made a great play, and even and we'll get to the Jerry Jeudy play coming up in a little bit. There's so many different parts of this that felt good, and then there's just a couple things like the Jerry Jeudy play where you're like, maybe we can work on that. And it's an understanding that it was just a great first step for Shedeur, and now he's got to build upon it. Daryl, that's it. The idea is now you get a chance in San Francisco, and don't let this be a reverse course. For as happy as I am today, for as happy as I was yesterday, don't have me back burying my head in the couch against a San Francisco 49ers team, because I'm telling you, they are waiting. They're sitting there waiting for you to fail, but you keep proving them wrong.
Yeah, but he mentioned this after the game about how everyone wants him to fail. And I'm going to respectfully disagree. I do not want Shedeur Sanders to fail. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah. I never got the vibe that you did.
Do I have questions about parts of his game and whether or not he can be successful at this level on a consistent basis? Absolutely. I had the same concerns about Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar certainly has, proven my doubts wrong as a two-time NFL MVP. But look, he has to go out and do it. We can't talk ourselves into his success. He just has to go out there and do it. And all the compliments and all the accolades and everything else, that's going to follow.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get on board. Now, I also feel like this is part of his chip on the shoulder, right?
Yeah, and he's talked about that.
The great athletes.
He used the Baker Mayfield line before the game yesterday in the Browns radio network. He said exactly that, the chip on the shoulder. And then, it's the same exact thing Baker went to. Because it's part of why I think I love both of them in many ways.
But see, Baker, I don't think could play that card. You are the number one pick in your draft class. You're not an underdog.
Baker
you're an
carried
underdog
that
after you get cut by Carolina and Los Angeles.
But Baker carried that when he was a walk-on at Texas Tech, though. That's his story. His story is the walk-on at Texas Tech, the kid that had 2 college offers to play D1 football, North Texas and Rice out of high school.
I get that.
That's where he gets. Everyone gets their story, their chip on the shoulder story from somewhere.
I get that, but once you're the number one pick in the draft, you're no longer an underdog. Now it's you got.
Well, I like that in many cases with Shedeur. It's almost like if he never had an underdog story before, even though he did play at Jackson State, we can all know he was just following his dad.
Right.
But even still, that's his underdog story is being 5th round pick.
But he's a 5th round pick. Everyone passed on him at least 5 times, right? Tom Brady. Everyone passed on Tom Brady at least 6 times.
Yeah.
So, there's nothing to say that he can't be the Cleveland Browns version of Tom Brady here, but let's not fit him for the gold jacket yet, or the statue outside the new Shadome going up in Brook Park, the barn dominium there. All right, let's Shedeur Sanders' way is not coming anytime soon. Let's slow the roll and really look at what happened yesterday objectively. But a lot of what happened yesterday was extremely positive.
Yes.
It was extremely positive. Okay, so you look at the box score, and the box score is unimpressive. I think you and I can agree with that. The box score is not impressive, but what was impressive, they scored the second most points they have all season.
Yeah. Only the second time over 20 in a game.
He completed passes that Dylan Gabriel, at least right now, is incapable of completing.
Right.
He ran the offense a little more efficiently. The team seemed to have a little more pep in their step with him on the field as well. Mm-hmm. That is all positive. The energy, he is a naturally energetic personality. Okay, both on and off the field. And I think that when you go out there and you back that up with your play, that energy feeds through the team.
I just don't think it's an accident that so many players we saw on the field yesterday had one of the best games they've had all year long. And so many of these young players on offense, but even some of the older guys too, they looked like they had just a new purpose and a new sense of all right, let's get after this. And I don't think it's something that just lasts a week long. In fact, I read Albert Breer's piece. He'll join us tomorrow, obviously. And Albert was talking about Joe Bitonio. And Bitonio throughout the week had mentioned, I guess, to Albert how Shedeur had been there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's just not something he ever, when Bitonio walks in, he's not expecting to see a lot of people. Not only did he see Shedeur there, but Shedeur is getting all these reps in with all these younger players, and he's going through the processes, and he's going through everything that he needs to go through to get ready. And I think it's so many people are how can this look different so fast? How can it look different in just a week? Well, when he knows the game plan is catered to him, but he also has that week to prepare like he's going to be the guy, people like that just don't miss opportunities. They just don't miss opportunities like that. I don't know what it is. Again, same thing with Baker that I have with Shedeur.
It's about the only other quarterback I've ever and taking advantage of it.
And they just don't miss in moments like that. That's why I felt so confident going into the game that he was going to take advantage of it, because people like that just don't miss those type of moments. And Shedeur is one of those guys. And he didn't. Again, is there room for improvement? Of course. No one's crowning him after 1 week. We got to be level-headed about this, because for the same person that told you guys a week ago, we can't decide the kid's fate after a half of a game, I'm the same person that tells you we can't decide anything after one good game in Las Vegas either. But it was a very encouraging start.